Hello, you are mostly welcome to today's broadcast on Science of Dominion TV with your regular host, Solomon Bamidele, on our trending episode, Post-Pandemic and Your Finance. The Post-Pandemic and Your Finance. And today's topic, we are not going to digress, but to buttress and to strengthen our standing and our position and to back up the teachings we have been doing and to bring home the importance of thinking of the need to think globally. While we are thinking globally, not to overlook our responsibility to the development of our own national economy. Wherever you are watching or you are listening from, whichever country you are from, you are a citizen of a particular country, whether you live in that country or you reside in another country, your patriotic is of utmost importance to your country of birth or to your country of residence is very important. So on that note, we are going to look at a topic, the effect. We are going to consider both the advantage and the disadvantage of globalization, the advantage and disadvantages of globalization. So on that note, the topic for today says the need to safeguard your national heritage against the perils of globalization. The need to safeguard your national heritage against or from the need, sorry, from the perils of globalization. Once again, the need to safeguard your national heritage from the perils of globalization. When you're talking about globalization, like we said in the other series, other topic we have mentioned, or what is globalization, just as we're talking about the next business, the next economy, the next economic climate that we are into, that we're entering into, that we're going to face in the nearest future, we have said we have made us to understand the impact of globalization. Globalization has turned the whole world into just a global village. Just a global village. As a result of globalization, just a quick recap, there's free trade. All the trade restrictions from one country to another have been removed. Have been removed. Transportation, collateral security, inter relationship in terms of political and economic and some other thing like that have been strengthened as a result of globalization. But while we are looking at globalization, we have to think deep. And I want to talk to the African and non-African country who are presently considered as developing economy. Developing economy. This today's topic, if you are a citizen, a leader, or a friend of a developing economy or a developing nations, this topic is very, very much important for us to look at it and think about it. Those of us that will reside in those nations and those of us that will live abroad, don't say it doesn't matter, it concerns you, it concerns you, it concerns you. Because it's your country, whether you like it or not. It's your place of birth, your place of origin. And one way or the other may not be you, your children may have to find their way back there in any way. So whatever goes on there, whether it's developing or not developing, you have a responsibility and you have a role to play in past by that. As a result, when you talk about globalization as a result of the free trade and stuff like that, yes, what are some of the advantages? Good advantages. As a result of globalization, developing nations now they were able to access good education to help them to increase their positive impact or to improve their level illiteracy. As a result of globalization, citizens from their country are able to access, a lot of educational need, both online, both online, and so on and so forth. So with this, people are able to develop themselves very cheap in terms of economy, and don't need to travel out. You can do all that as a what we call distance learning and so many online learning and so many else like that. So a lot of funding here and there, search Google, learning on Google, information on Google. So everybody, citizen of every nation, especially the developing one, they're able to access a lot of good educative, informative information. I mean, constructive and helping information, thereby helping to boost, improve the level of literacy in every nation. That's one. Number two, how about health-wise? How about health-wise? As a result of globalization, developing nations, they were able to access good health facilities in terms of drug, machinery, equipment, personnel, and so on and so forth. We're able to get that. So, standard of living, it helped to boost the standard of living in developing nations. Why? Because of importation of goods and services from other developed or from developed nations. So there are quite a lot of the advantages here and there. No, developing nations were able to access markets they were not able to access before. They were able to buy, they have access to goods and services that are available in the world. And as much as you can just order, it's going to no trade restriction, no barrier restriction, just no order, pay the necessary thing, postage and stuff, you pay. So, but while we are considering this, there are a lot of dangers, a lot of disadvantages. What we call peril comes along with globalization, especially to the developing nations. Those perils, those dangers, shortcoming, disadvantage is what we want to consider today, so that every patriotic citizen of a nation, of a developing nation especially, will be able to think twice and be able to realize their own role and responsibility as to preserve the heritage of their national country, or to preserve their national heritage per se, to say. When we are talking of national heritage, what is our national heritage? Of course, in this time, in this context, our national heritage can be defined as, number one, our economy. The economy of your developing nation is your national heritage. In terms of GDP, in terms of commerce, in terms of industry, in terms of manufacturing, and so on and so forth, your national heritage. Number two, when you're talking of national heritage in this context, we are talking about your natural resources. Your natural resources, our natural resources like the mine, the gold, the copper, everything. We are talking of national resources, including agricultural products, and so on and so forth. When we're talking of our national heritage, we are talking about our manufacturing industries. What we manufacture, what we produce, our products. We're talking of natural resource, sorry, your national heritage. So all these put together, not only that, your manpower, your manpower. We are talking of our national heritage. All these put together, what makes us unique is what we call national heritage. National heritage, national heritage. So, what is the danger of globalization on our national heritage? Number one, as a developing nation. Number one, danger of developing economy becoming over dependent on the developed economy. That's number one danger. That's number one peril. There's danger of developing economy becoming over dependent on the developed economy. What do I mean by that? Everything right now that developing nations could not produce, they now begin to depend on developed country for their source of supply, to purchase them, to get them, get this, but get this, get that, the leaders. Like I said, the leaders of one country or the other, of developing nations, in order for them to focus and to put all their resources and their effort to develop their own national resources, their own resources, their heritage, like hospitals, like schools, like industry, like manufacturing, and the industry, and the social amenity utilities, for them to put their effort and their resources together to develop it. What would they do? They'll be flying abroad to develop nations for their health needs, for their health services, hospitals, educations, flying their children abroad, flying abroad to go and study, neglecting their own school, neglecting their own hospitals, because they can access it there over there when it's already developed. Why would they take their time? Especially if the government is just coming in to spend 4 years, 5 years, say, how long will it take me to develop the hospital, to develop the school? At least I will know. So let me go and access where it is available to make myself live good, well, nice, and because I have the money. Not knowing is your national heritage, call your money, that you are exporting by sovereign to developed nations. Developed nations, helping to develop the economy, helping to strengthen the economy of developed nations from developing nations. Most of the time, we don't know that the money, the resources that the developed nation used to develop their economy from those money, it came from developing nations. So the danger. So because of globalizations, as a result of free access to trade, to this, to that, there's danger of developing nations become over dependent on developed nations. Number two, there is dangers because globalization presents easy routes for mass migration of the natural resources and money of developing countries to developed countries. I take note, I still say again. Globalization presents easy routes for mass migration, exportation of their natural resources and money of developing countries to the developed countries. Globalization presents very easy routes to that. What would they do? Their natural resources: gold, copper, zinc, lead, diamonds, bauxite, crude oil, another natural resources, agricultural produce like cocoa, cashew, granite, coconuts, peanuts, mangoes, tomatoes, and so on and so forth. That you can think of natural resources. Their fishery, their poultry. Is those of globalization present easy routes to take those things, to mine those things, to farm those things, to acquire those things, and transport them as a form of raw material at the cheapest price to developed nations, where it's going to be processed, manufactured, processed, as packaged, as finished good, then returned and be sold back to developing nations at a very exorbitant price. So this becomes issues. Not only that, as people are buying, because your natural resources, when they take it away, you bring it back, to buy, you are now buying at almost, when you put the margin and everything, maybe another 300% increase in price, or there's sometimes 1,000% increase in price of your own resources that have been put together, manufactured. Buy, you have to put a price on it. By so doing, your money, the money from developing countries, is just flowing to the developed country. So that's what globalization does. Globalization presents easy routes for mass exportation, migration, transfer, flow of resources from developing country to developed country. Number three, globalization encourages citizens of developing countries to indulge in the habit of over-reliance on foreign goods. I take again. Globalization encourages citizens of developing countries to indulge in the habit of over-reliance on foreign goods, especially those that are not patriotic, those that are not patriotic citizens of developing countries. Mm. Most of the people, in some of my journey, I traveled to some African country, Uganda, per se, Zambia, and some other Eastern African country. And I went to shops and I went around for shoppings and stuff like that. I was shocked when I went and I visited some shopping complex here and there, enter from this store to this store. I was shocked to discover most of the goods, the clothing, the shoes, the beds, the beddings, the sofas, the upholsteries. Some of them that I saw there, they were from foreign countries. They are foreign goods, not just only foreign goods. The price tag on them was in dollars, not in their own national currency, in dollars. And when you convert those money, the price to their own national currency, it became so expensive to afford. I said, wow. And surprisingly, some of these goods, by the grace of God, I've been to developed nations here and there. Most of the people, the way I live, European nations, America, I don't know. I don't know where they sell some of them. I don't know because most of the time I don't go out. I don't bother to go out to buy all these things. I just go around and buy what is available. So they're available. Yeah, I don't know where they are sold. But the people there, this is what as university boys, undergraduates, the little many jobs, somebody send money to them. This is what they are using their money to buy. They care more about their look, the type of bed, the name of the bed, the name of the shoe, the makes, the maker of the shirt. They care more about all those things than what they have up here. When I saw that, I said, wow. When I enter some houses, from the door to the lightning, to the switch, to the doors, to the upholstery, to the beds, even to the cooking pots in the kitchens. They were all foreign goods in some homes I entered. In some of these, my visit to some of these African nations. By the grace of God, of course, by the privilege of having to enter some elite, some of course, well-blessed people. There and there. Everything, they are foreign goods. Even some of them, as far as the toothpicks and the toothbrush, you are surprised. The fridge, the freezers, the televisions, foreign goods, even to the clock, foreign goods. So why? That was what globalization can do. So the globalization will make it worse. Why? Because the mentality there says we have to present that we are foreign, we are this, we are that. But listen to me. Furnishing your house and body with foreign goods is not equal to civilization, as we say, as we think. Rather, it's a sign of the value you place on your national goods. The fact that you are furnishing your house, your body with foreign goods is not an indication that you are civilized, that you are modern. It's just a sign, or especially, of the value you place on your national goods. On your national goods. There's this woman that I cherish. I've never met her before, one to one, but no, I don't have contact with her. They call her Iwela Okonjo. Iwela Okonjo. One of the finance minister in Nigeria. I told you I travel around this country. When you see this woman, as blessed as is, international, connected, beautiful, brain and brilliant and connected and influential and worthy, highly top place. But when you see this woman, oh, very patriotic of our country. The way we dress is just the product, the produce from our country. That's how you see her. Just natural her in the natural dressing with the style promoting, proud to be associated with what is produced, to use what produced from our country. She has all the money, whatever you want to buy. But that's what we are. So people like that, I cherish and appreciate that. Why? Sometimes when I look at the senators, the House of Rep, the Member of Parliament of some developing nations, when they are sitting to decide to preside over their nations, what you do some pitching on, some will put on suits and tie. Even when they are hot, there's no ACO or they're just not ordinary fan, they be sweating like Christmas chicken and they put on suit and tie, presiding over their nation. They are show, if you see their suits, if you see their car, not a single of them, the official car is not the one that is being assembled in their own country. But of course, you know they don't manufacture one. But let's talk about even the assembly. They have the assembly plant today. They don't use the one that's assembled in their own country. They use the foreign assembled, foreign make and assembled cars as their official car. And they say they are the leader, the senators, House of Rep. What do you call them now? Member of Parliament, ministers of this country, and they are even the president. And they are promoting, using foreign mates, foreign cars, foreign this what, foreign this, foreign that, foreign furnitures, foreign spoons, foreign toilets in their homes, wherever they are. And they think that they are developing their country. What is sick mentality? Forgive my language. I don't supposed to go that way. Addiction to the use of foreign goods indirectly is an act of forfeiting your future. Addiction to the use of foreign goods indirectly is an act of forfeiting your future. When you are using foreign goods, foreign that, you are over depending on foreign goods, you allow your people to indulge in the use of foreign goods, foreign this, depending on foreign goods for everything without taking time to develop your own. Is indirectly foreign goods is a forfeiting of future. You are forfeiting your future. You are mortgaging the future of your children. Or we are mortgaging the future of our children. The great future of our children, that's what we are mortgaging. Okay? That's what it means. Number 4, I need to round up. Globalization can make developing countries to become a dumping ground of substandard goods from developed countries. Globalization can make the developing country to become a dumping ground of substandard goods from developed countries because of globalization. Anything they say now, a friend of mine went to Malaysia, want to produce juice, all this all this foreign juice, all this juice, something like that. And when they go there, they say, well, where are you taking them to? He said, I'm taking them to Africa. I'm going to sell them in Africa. I'm going to say, where? Of what standard do you want? The content you want. They said, where to manufacture this and this, the content would be, if you want 50%, the original content, let's say apple juice, original apple. If you want 50% of original apple, this amount. If you want 20%, this amount. If you want 3%, he said, the young man said, well, I'm taking to Africa. What matters to me is profit. So therefore, I just want 2% content, apple content me. The rest, sweetness and coloring. Can you see? Substandard goods entering there, poisoning, developing the country, destroying the economy of the country. And people will be thinking they were using this. That's what globalization can do. It can make the very country to become a dumping ground of substandard goods, substandard electric appliances, which have been destroying houses, no burning houses because of the electric wire, electric sockets, substandard TV, substandard everything. Dumping ground because they are not producing, because they are not taking time to develop their own industry. They are depending on developed countries. Take note. Number 5, cyber war. Cyber war. If for any reason cyber security across nations become issue or pose danger to the sovereignty of developed countries, restriction could be imposed on the internet accessibility between nations, which could indirectly affect e-commerce. What does that mean? Meaning, shortage of goods in those nations depending on foreign countries. Take note of that. You know, I said in one of my broadcasts, I said the next world war is not is not third world war. It's not the war of fighting of guns and this like that. It's going to be cyber world war. Cyber world war. It's going to be. Oh, you check, you watch out. And when that happens, when the other nation, one nation will begin to attack the other one as a result of cyber, penetrating their cyber system, penetrating their system, trying to destroy their economy, their system, their political system through cyber assets, internet assets. So they have to go to China. There are some search engine that is not operational in China. Why? Because they are protecting their national sovereignty, economy. So if there happen to be cyber security threat, restriction will be posed on the use of internet, e-commerce, ordering, supply, this one, and when there some restriction and disruption happen, which means those nations, developing nations, waiting for their source of livelihood, feeding, clothing, and stuff like that, for their country, for their citizens, within that period, maybe 1 year, maybe 2 years, maybe 3 months, like this pandemic, which I'm going to mention later, which means there'll be shortage of supplies of goods. And when that happens, there'll be hiking prices. And when hiking prices happen, people not be able to afford it. And that will affect the living standard of the people. So that's what globalization can do. When nation does not take time to develop their own, but depending on other nations as a result of globalization. Number 6, outbreak of pandemic, like the one that we're experiencing now. Due to lockdown and closure of airports, airspaces, and borders, production, importation, and exportation of goods was hampered, meaning shortage and scarcity of goods on those nations that are over reliant on foreign goods. Globalization. Are you taking note? Nobody ever imagine that if there not be flight from the one country to another, not in my lifetime, nobody could ever, for 1 month, not to talk of 3 months going now. Nobody could ever imagine it. That border will be closed. Can you imagine? We never thought about it. As a result of lockdown, manufacturing was affected, production was affected, certain goods are not being produced as a result of that, and as a result of lockdown and closure of borders and things like this, there was no importation and exportation of certain goods and resources. I learned some of African countries, their oil was lost some cargoes, vessels on the sea for number of days, number of months, nobody to buy, nobody say hello. Some goods cannot go. That's what I'm talking of, outbreak of pandemic like this. That's what it resulted to. It was pandemic we thought, but it's economy that is affected indirectly or directly. So when we are over relying, as a result of so these are the perils of globalization. If I'm not talking to every citizen of a developing nation, every citizen, don't say it doesn't matter. We are talking of remember, let me bring it home as I close. We are talking of the right business for this economic climate. The right business for this economic. That's what we're talking about, the right business for this economic climate. So as you are thinking of this, what type of business can you start in this economic climate? Be thinking along the way of what can you do to help to develop your nations, to help to preserve your national heritage of your country of origin. And every citizen, resident citizen of developing nation, begin to think, what can you do in developing your own manufacturing industry? Can you imagine if some of you can just team up together? You can ask if you can do it. You can begin to process your tomato. You begin to process cashew. You begin to process mango. Begin to process granite. Begin to process, the coconut, begin to process so many things that we are selling away, disposing away, destroying. We begin to process it. What's stopping us? We're making tomato paste, tomato this, tomato that, tomato juice, mango juice, orange juice. We can develop it. We can develop it. It's just for us to be ready with the right mentality and put resources together. We can develop it. How about what's stopping us from the relying on our own group and promoting and using your own groups, clothing, wears, shoes? Let's do. If we don't start it, if people are producing and nobody is patronizing, where will they make? Where will we make profit? And those of us that we want to be taking businesses to those places, of course, let's try businesses, services that can help to develop in one way or the other to contribute your own quota is what you'll be thinking about now, is what we try in this economic climate. I'm telling you right now. Of course, from the developing world, there's markets. Oh, there's market. There are consumer, there are people, markets, things you can sell, so many things. But let it be the one that's going to help to strengthen the economy of the developing country and to preserve the heritage of the developing country from the perils of globalization. From the peril of globalization is very, very important. Let's think along this way. Let's do it this way. I just thought we need to digress a little and think and talk about this as we are thinking about the next move in our businesses, in our endeavors, in our job, whether we want to go for a job, to self-job, self-employed, business owner, investments. Let's think about that. Like I said the other time, job, people migrate to where job is, but now the job migrates to meet the people. So migration is about the job, not migrating like that. How about developing people resources together at national resources and electricity in our country so that job from there can migrate and our people who get job? Leaders in every nations, let's think right. Let's think right. Let's think about it. And every citizen, you're a leader of your country. Don't be blaming the leader that you are the leader of your country. What you do today, your decision determines what becomes of your country. Like I said, my name is Solomon Bamidele, your regular host on this broadcast, Science of Dominion. By Tuesday, we continue with our great topic. Have a wonderful weekend. And for those that will join me for services on Sunday, I see you tomorrow by 11 a.m. for Sunday service. God bless you.